righty. Well, welcome everyone to In the Company of Charity podcast. This is your friend, Sister Liz, and I am here with my good friend, Sister Elizabeth.
Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
Sister Elizabeth. How
Hi,
are
Sister
you?
Liz. I'm great. I am great. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's been quite a run these last few weeks of life and podcast episodes and
Oh, I know. They were really good. I mean, if we do say so ourselves, right?
we can pat ourselves on the back for
Yeah. Well, they were especially good because they were with our brothers. Father
Yes.
John, Father Greg, Father Tomas. I mean, too cool. Just too cool. So if you haven't heard them yet, backtrack a little. Find them out. You're going to love them.
Back it on up.
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, what is happening in your neighborhood over there? I'm hearing some noises.
Well, first of all, to just get the climate check, of course, to see what the weather's like. It's actually in the 80s here. It went from maybe the high of 50. We weren't planting because we were afraid of the frost. We didn't know when the last frost of the year would be, to okay, let's just be 70, 80 degrees. It's supposed to be 89 on Thursday. Nobody knows what to do. And of course, not many people have air conditioning. So you really only think, oh, you're going to get those kind of temperatures for 2 months, maybe July and August. So strange things happening in the world. We had 12 days of snow in April, and now it's 80 degrees. So you will hear the sounds of the city coming through my window because it's hot and there's no air conditioning.
The Daughters of Charity. Everyone,
yeah,
the Daughters of Charity.
Yeah, well, in the Northeast too, poor cities in the Northeast, no air conditioning. So,
well, can I just tell you,
sounds of the city.
If the podcast listeners, if you're a trusted podcast listener, you know that I like to run. And guess what the overnight low was when I got up this morning in order to run. The low was 80 degrees.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. See, I don't think I could go back to that. I really don't.
The low, people.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So we're in it. Eternal summer down
but
here.
We're in sync right now. I mean, our high is 80 for a couple of days. So I'll be in solidarity with you. The other sound you might be hearing might come up is fireworks. Because fireworks are legal in our city. So for most occasions, which could mean that there's a gathering of more than 10 people since we're still in COVID time, and so that might be stopped short, but maybe not. They just, it's Memorial Day weekend. That's just to timestamp this conversation.
Yes, we are recording on Memorial Day weekend.
Yes, we are.
We have faithfully stayed away from the beaches, the malls, anywhere around here. And that's, right now the border is still only essential personnel going back and forth here in Southern Texas. And, 25%, I think, was the phase one. Things could open, but only at 25% capacity. And we're going to be heading on into 50% here in phase two.
We're still at no gatherings over 10 people.
You're at phase -0.
No, we're at phase one. We're actually, giving New York some credit here. We've been doing okay, but we do have to say, I mean, you definitely want to just say this is a weekend of, and I always feel like every time we talk, I'm like, Debbie Downer in some ways, but these have been hard times. I mean, they've been really hard times, and so the isolation and all of that can really get to you. And we kind of laugh about masks and how this is going to work. I mean, masks, the new industry, of course, but likelihood is we'll hit 100,000 fatalities because of this disease, this virus. It's just tragic. And to have that happen over a weekend where we're also mourning and celebrating the ambulance going by, the lives of so many men and women who lost their lives to protect our freedoms. So we just have to remember them and remember that this is a pretty amazing weekend to be thinking about the lives of so many people, whose lives were lived well, we hope, and who are loved by people in their space and in their area, and that they're not here now. And so we just mourn them, but we celebrate their lives, and we know that they're with God, looking down on us and hopefully interceding for us, and can help us through this for sure.
How has ministry looked for you as of late with your refugees up there?
Well, of course there are no refugees coming, so we haven't had a resettlement, anyone resettle in the area or in any area really since mid-March, I think was the last time someone was resettled here was March 6th. So we're just kind of finishing out those cases. Cases take like 90 days of case management through the resettlement process. But I continue to work with our families. There's still about 10. We've got 2 babies about to be born in July. We just had 1 baby born right before everything shut down. So, that's exciting, life in the midst of all of this crazy stuff. Schools, of course, are not open and won't open for the summer. So, we got to think about what we're going to do. And it was like all of a sudden with kids everywhere. The streets are just packed with kids. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And of course, as soon as you go out, they're like, Masetta, Sister Elizabeth. I'm like,
You're like,
there's children.
hello.
Children everywhere. Yeah. Masks, everybody, masks. 6 feet, 6 feet, So
I don't know how you play soccer in the street when you have to have 6 feet.
I don't know. You just don't, and they're not into golf. So I said, I'm not sure what. So they're bike riding and they're doing those kind of things. You can golf.
Shuffleboard? No.
We can play golf. We can play golf and tennis. Not exactly your inner city sports. You know what I'm saying? It's not quite what But all that to say, the kids are doing great. The families are adapting and doing well, and we've done all the things we need to do to help them apply for their stimulus money so that they don't miss out on that just because of language issues, and making sure they understand all the consequences and the whole situation of this virus and the importance of being safe. So
I can tell you the extra money with food stamps has really been a lifesaver for so many of our families. They were living paycheck to paycheck before this whole scenario happened, and people haven't lost their jobs and everything. And to have that food money available, especially for families with 4, 6,
absolutely.
kids, their own kids, cousins, aunts, uncles. I mean, it's a lot of mouths to feed in some of the.
And I think, just kind of my sense here, like the people that we're working with, people who come into our food pantry, just kind of being out in the neighborhood, doing a lot more walking. That's a good thing because the weather's better now. So just kind of walking around and realizing that it's probably not right now that we're going to see the real impact, although we're seeing it in many ways. It's going to be a couple of months from now, when the rent moratorium is over, when rent comes due, when the stimulus money has been spent, when food stamp, the hike in food stamps goes away. It's going to be rough. It's going to be really rough. So it's like trying to anticipate what might be coming down the pike for people, and just realizing this was a vulnerable neighborhood to start with. So we're just going to have to really keep our eyes open and be visible and available as much as we can. I mean, that's what we do, say, hey, we're here, and we'll try to keep on the pulse of this and hopefully be able to help as the needs arise. So it's about the best we can do.
I feel like we
do it the best we can.
I feel like we are kind of back to basics in a lot of ways of of the providing for basic needs of people. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the food, toiletries, rent, that people are really struggling with. And
Yeah.
to have, the donors and foundations and various people step up, at least where we are, to give some of that extra money and to have these grant opportunities that we can take advantage of to help people with those basic resources has been really huge for us, to be able to continue to serve and, go out and bring rice and beans and gift cards and knock on doors and stuff like that. And we had one the other day where a lady called, and it was her neighbor that referred her to us. And
oh, nice.
Just for me, that's the best referral you could ever have, is that someone would tell their neighbor, those people over there, they can really help you. And that's all we need.
And they'll
right?
be there, and they'll be there for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a big difference. Definitely. And keeps you saying, we're here just trying to be good neighbors and just be available and do the things that folks need us to do. Right now, we're getting ready to start planting.
Oh, okay.
Of course, Sister Sharon Horace is there with you. And Sharon is our master gardener, my only friend who knows how to do those things. And she was in the area for 2 years, came up and helped. This year I had to go buy the plants myself.
Uh-oh.
I sent her a picture while I was in the Home Depot. Look at me, being all independent. Buying plants. How would you know, Oh, and I'm like, ew, it's gonna get my car dirty. It's like dirt. I'm
need to
I
find
want to go
someone
home
who
and
can
write a
help
poem
you.
about this or something. Like, I need to write a haiku about this, like something that's me in my head, not, oh my gosh, we got to get these onions in the ground but
What
I'll
kind
just
of
say, you don't
alternate
normally
universe are we in?
I mean, I've learned all these things, like you don't plant here really before May 31st. So we have this week to get things in the ground. We think we've had our last frost last week. So from the looks of temperatures, we're going to be okay for the next couple of weeks, so we can get everything in the ground and feel safe about that. So that's this week's project.
Pro tip for people who are discerning consecrated life, that you think that you're coming to do one thing and then God just says, look at all these other things you're going to learn how to do.
That's
and
right. Absolutely.
You're going to play basketball with children and take them to the movies, and then you're going to be digging in the dirt.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be digging in the dirt. They like to do that. I'm not, and they just use like one hoe. I mean, these two women from the Congo, they just get these, and they're gone. I mean, they just do it, and it's beautiful and it's amazing, and they just laugh at me because I like, go near dirt, and I'm like tiptoeing, and they're like, they're just in it.
Masetta, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, it's funny. And so I got the plants, and they were all excited, and I got seeds. I got what was on the list. I was very happy with myself, and they were happy. So tomorrow, I think we're gonna start our memorial planting and get this show on the road. But like I say, I mean, I'm on the other side, saying, okay, what else? That's part of like work, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of life here, and but I was thinking, thinking about talking with you and saying, what have you done anything different this time? Like, feeling little monkette like, it's little monkish, kind of having a little bit more time, at least in the beginning of all this, because it was so quiet and just didn't want anyone to go out, so I'm going to fess up. I have taken on 2 new hobbies.
Okay. Care to share with the kids at home?
Yeah, one is embroidery. I don't know why, just seemed like something to do. And so, yeah, well, we were actually cleaning out. We were
I'm not
cleaning out an
laughing at you
area
really
because
about.
really what I do is like clean out stuff and I move things around and I'm trying to get this building together. And those are things I could do.
Mhm.
And so, we finally was starting to come out. And so I found this box of embroidery thread and some hoop things and circle-y things. And Sister Margaret Ann Wooden had donated them. And so I was very excited about it. It was right around her birthday. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to tell Margaret Ann I found this stuff, And so and I thought, Elizabeth, you should try this. You really should. So I got one little pattern and I have been on YouTube like watching these videos, and I found a particular group of like beginner
Wow.
videos that have been interesting. So I take maybe an hour, a day
Okay.
to do two things. Embroidery is one thing. I haven't made anything yet. I'm still practicing the 10 easy stitches. The other is orchids. I've always loved orchids, and I've had a few in the day, and every time they like the flowers fall off, I think they've just died and I throw it away. So
Shame on you.
yeah. So I
Shame.
had this one orchid and I, went online like a year ago and said, what do you do with orchids? And I found you shouldn't throw them away. And so I did a little cutting thing and it came back.
Mm.
Amazing.
See, you
It's like
didn't kill it.
I didn't kill it. No, I didn't kill it. I actually like gave it life. It actually now has two flower stalks, not just one. And so I thought, I think I'm going to look a little bit more into orchids. So I find out that you really should replant your orchid every 2 years, like repot it. We're into the second year. So I'm now learning how
Wow.
to repot an orchid
I'm
while
so excited for you.
I don't mind touching that dirt. Like I don't have to go plant it. It's just like a very clean process, at least from what it seems. So anyways, those are my two things, orchids and embroidery.
I have learned nothing.
Oh,
Just kidding.
oh, come on now,
Zero.
something. Did you read a book you wouldn't have read before? Have you done anything?
I have to recommend two books that
Okay,
one I
I'm
just
ready.
finished and one that's
Yeah,
new. The first book is called Thoughts Matter. Thoughts Matter.
okay. I'm
Sister
gonna write it
Meg
down.
Funk.
Uh-huh,
She's probably the only Sister Funk in the world.
yeah. Thoughts.
She's extremely well versed in the early church fathers and the desert fathers and
Oh,
mothers.
I love that stuff.
I
Yeah,
mean, this
awesome.
is your
Okay.
book. And so it's all about how you become more aware of your thoughts and then to let them go. And so it covers basically the 7 deadly sins in a way. And it talks about, okay, thoughts about food, sex, things. And then it goes into thoughts about having anger, acedia. I don't know how you pronounce that, but
Acedia.
it's like spiritual laziness in a way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then what's the last one? Pride,
Mm-hmm.
I think is the sort of culminating one. Very, very interesting. Highly recommend. I've read it a couple times already, but I just reread it.
Oh, nice.
It's one of these
Nice. That's
dog-eared,
definitely,
underline, all of the
yeah,
things.
yeah. That's what the recommendation is they're
Mm-hmm.
reading it for the second time and still liking it.
Exactly.
You
And then the
Yeah.
one I just
Yeah.
picked up is called Everything Belongs. This is a Father Richard Rohr
Oh, okay.
book.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of is a culmination of a lot of his different books, and definitely worth reading about thoughts about the ego and prayer, simplicity in prayer, things like that. How you look at society and your inner life. Just more about his thing is about our world is focused on upward mobility, success, achievement, getting things. And
Mm-hmm.
really what the spiritual life is about, downward mobility, like less, a stripping away, a simplifying, you know, where you become the servant, not the one being served. Those sorts of concepts are really, I don't know, just touching my heart right now. And
Wow.
I think it's a perfect timing for building awareness and then deciding what's really important and what really matters. Why not think about that stuff at this special moment in history that we're all living?
Yeah, it sounds good. I'm proud of you.
Oh,
Sound like good books. Look at us using the time.
And listening to podcasts, of course.
Oh,
you
yes,
know.
yes. Anything interesting?
Well, I'm on a Jordan.
Other than our own, are you like listening? I try to listen like I've never heard it before. Like, who are those? Wow, they're awesome. That is so good. That is so good. No pride.
The problem is I don't like the sound of my own voice, so it is hard for me to listen to myself, but I don't mind listening to you. You're great.
Well, I think you're great too, so that works, because we just kind of drown out our own voice to hear the other. But any others that you?
I'm on a Jordan Peterson kick. He's a really interesting character. So he has a lot of, it's like a mix of faith and psychology and anthropology, and he's just the way his mind just carries all that knowledge is just crazy to me. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but
I have. I have. I've not really heard anything, but I've not read anything. Didn't he write a big book or something?
Oh yeah. Something 12 Rules for Life, I think is the name of it. So yeah.
Well, that's good.
You know, and
it's important. It's very
having
important
a great time in community. We have a new sister in our house who's a good friend, and you know, she's the gardener, and I'm trying to assist as best I can. And then I'm like, I need a drink of water, and she goes, "You need a break already?" Yeah,
I know her.
It's pitiful.
We're talking about the illustrious Sister Sharon Horace. You guys got to do an episode together. I'll come in on it.
100%.
Yeah, we got to put up, just being honest about it. She is a good friend. I've known her since we were in the seminary together. We couldn't be any more different from one another, which almost makes us the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're at so opposite ends. We've kind of met. If you just turn the curve, kind of.
You're both weirdos, is what you're saying, and it goes very well together.
We are. It's really funny. We kind of have similar likes, but we like things for different reasons. It's kind of weird. I don't really understand it myself, but friendships are what they are in community, and so we came to the seminary together way back when, and and so we were the only two to survive. It was great. And
persevered. You persevered.
Yeah, I think we were the least likely to succeed. If we had a yearbook, there was a band yearbook, we would have been like, we're not sure which one is less likely, but neither of them is probably going to make it. I say that jokingly, and half not.
It is really something, just in reflecting on being in community and having friendships. It's just, it's such a gift to have people. Usually you're with friends because you work with them, or you know, have similar interests, or your personalities gel, and in community that's the case too. But there's that additional beauty of shared spirit, shared charism, shared mission, and I think that's so awesome to have good friends in community. And I think for anyone who's discerning or thinking about religious life, it's like, you could be lonely, but at the same time you have these people who are in it with you and who can be like, stop it, like everything's fine, you're being dramatic, or like just in it with you, and supporting you. So I don't know. I just
Yeah.
grateful for the gift of good friends and community, and Sister Sharon is one too. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it is interesting because especially some of the friends you have, you kind of say, so how did God call you and me? Like, how does that work? Then
weird.
you realize, well, there's got to be a diversity because, people are diverse. Those who are living in poverty have diverse lives and interests, and we all have to kind of reach within ourselves, find what gifts we have, but also, what might be there that God sees that we never saw in ourselves, and realize those are probably the places. It's like you say, it's in that spirit of what we do and who we are that kind of joins the hearts together,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. It is really amazing. Yeah.
We it's almost summertime, and
Mhm.
as the podcast episodes will be wrapping up for the season, we have some really
No,
good
say it's
ones.
not so.
Listen, we have some really good interviews coming up.
You.
I want you to just give us a preview a little bit about the one about the Colby Center, because I think that is so
Yeah. So the Maximilian Kolbe Center for Life is a pro-life crisis pregnancy Catholic center in Macon, Georgia. And so I haven't been in Macon in 6 years now, about 6 years. But when I was there, I worked with Dr. Richard Rowe, who's a neurosurgeon there, someone I knew from our church who had joined me. He was the chair of the board of a program I was working in at the time called Family Advancement Ministry, and we worked with young women who had children, and we just realized there was kind of a gap in some services. There was another crisis pregnancy center in Macon, but there was no Catholic identity. There was no Catholic presence. There was no Catholic voice out in the really doing the work in crisis pregnancy. We were certainly doing the work in other ways for women with children, certainly women who are vulnerable to pressure to have an abortion. So all that to say, the Kolbe Center grew up, was opened, and then I got missioned. So we call it the Kolbe Center because the Maximilian Kolbe Center for Life is kind of long. It's a cool name, but the Kolbe Center really just feels right. I end up getting missioned to Little Rock, but the Kolbe Center goes on. It's an absolutely fabulous place. Well, in the end, at some point in time, I don't want to tell the whole story because I want Dr. Rowe and Ann Beal, who's the current director, to tell their story. But at one point, a medical somebody or other came into town and wanted to open a program, the clinic for women. And for
That's
all
kind of
intents and
code,
purposes,
right?
it was code. It was slightly code. I'm sure they were going to do some things, for healthcare for women, but they were also going to perform abortions. And at that point in time, there were no abortion clinics. There was no abortions being done in that kind of setting in Macon. Had not been for over 30 years, because the only other time there was a clinic in Macon, a woman had died after an abortion. And so after that happened, they just shut them all down. They never opened them again, never allowed one in the city. And so this was moving in, and the Kolbe Center just said, we're not having it. It's not going to happen. And so they just went through a process of campaigning against it. Went to city government, did a lot of work with business leaders, rallied the evangelical, mainline Protestant and Catholic community to rise up against this. And the story of what happened is for them to tell from that point on, because it's really quite remarkable about what happened. So watch for that one, the Kolbe
Yes.
Center, and the adventures of some really just radical and yet very pristine Southern people who just said,
Love
oh
it.
no, we are not having that in our city. It's not going to happen here. So,
Amazing.
so that's, yeah. So that's really one to watch for and listen for.
The other one that I'm really excited about is an interview I did with ultra runner and one of my favorite people, Sally McRae. And it was just an opportunity for me to kind of nerd out and talk shop. But no, she tells her story, and a tremendous amount of suffering and faith, and the connections of mind, body, spirit. I think it's really cool, and I think people will appreciate. Very unique episode, and we'll be happy to bring that one to you also.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too, because I'm not a runner. I don't think there's a runner in there anywhere, but I'm always fascinated. You can do it. And I'll take it up the next time something happens. Maybe that'll be, if we don't get out soon, I'll start running. That could be what I do. Except anyways, that's going to be really good. And it should remind people of Cohost Chat not too long ago when we talked about a marathon you ran.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
January or February.
It was pretty crazy. So again, you might want to go back and listen to some others, but wait until the season's over, then use the summer to catch up.
Binge listen. Is that even
binge listen? Not, we
binge
just made
watch
it up.
Or binge? Yeah, we just coined the trademark right there.
There you go. Right. You do it with us first, and you can go binge listen to somebody else, but first binge listen to In the Company of Charity.
Yes, and as always, send us your ideas, send us your topic requests, anything like that. We're always on the lookout for good people to interview, and what you guys are hoping to hear from us. We're having a good time. We hope you are too.
Yeah, and know that you're in our prayers, and everyone be safe, be distant, be masked.
Physically distant, but spiritually close.
There you go.
All right. Good to see you always, sister. Until next time.
It was so good to talk to you.
All right. Peace out.
Take care. Talk to you later.
This has been In the Company of Charity podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.